2024 is behind us, and while we do, of course, set our sights on the future, we have to step back and look at what came before. And today I'm doing just that with my top 10 movies of the year. Films that went above and beyond to impress me, dazzling the eyes, fondling the senses. And while I did enjoy far more than 10 movies in 2024, 10 of them rose to the top. The creme de la creme, if you will. And so without further ado, I give you the top 10 movies of 2024. Before I embark on my quest to bring you what will undoubtedly be the greatest top 10 movies of 2024 you've ever watched in your lifetime, please do me the favor, the service of just hitting the subscribe and the notification bell. It's free of charge. YouTube doesn't charge for that, neither do I. And that way future videos by me will show up and you can see my top 10 worst movies after this. I would love you for it. Let's get to the number 10 spot and briefly go over why it's on there. And that movie is The Wild Robot. This is the only movie on my list that's really an all-ages affair, a PG outing made by DreamWorks with beautiful, stunning animation, kind of similar to what you saw in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Writer and director Chris Sanders really brings the book to life with this film, and I'm hoping he's going to get to carry on this trilogy down the road. But even as a one-and-done situation, The Wild Robot captures the hearts and the spirit of the book. Not only is it stunning on the eyes, but that music, the sound effects, that richness is coming through in every single scene of the film. The voice acting's on point. The messages are strong. It's just a good old-fashioned, fine movie for the whole family. And it's an easy recommendation for this guy. Let's get to the number 9. If you were to walk up to me on the streets and look up and say, "Adam, sir," because of course I'm taller than everyone I've ever come into contact with, "What do you think about Smile 2?" I would have never in a million years guessed that I would like it so much it would go in a top 10 movies. But a lot of the films on this list, spoiler, are in the horror/thriller department. What a banger year for the horror industry, which sounds like whore industry, although I do believe OnlyFans made a killing in 2024 as well. So both horror and whore did fantastic. Smile 2 isn't just your basic formulaic follow-up to Smile, although, yeah, it does kind of follow the same playbook, and it doesn't really bring anything new to the table in terms of the lore. It does have one hell of an ending that's clearly going to open things up to bigger and better in number 3. But we have a female lead here, a strong female lead. And I actually mean that sincerely and not with even a tinge of sarcasm. Naomi Scott is fucking great in this movie. She has dimension to her. She's a broken person who's dealing with this freaking demon smiley face emoji that has attached itself to her, and it is making her life a living hell. And to make matters worse, she's a prominent figure. She's a pop star. She has to be seen by millions of adoring fans. She has to keep performing at 100%, or all the wheels are gonna come off. As a recovering addict, it makes it hard for people to believe what she's saying. She's losing her mind, more so than a regular Joe Schmo would that doesn't have all that baggage attached. Not only does our Princess Jasmine kill it on screen, she also provides her amazing vocals with an original soundtrack that, I'm not gonna lie, I've played a couple times on Spotify. There's some banger hits on there. But overall, this movie's got more scares, it's got more thrills, it has a more interesting concept. The only thing that keeps this lower on my list is the fact that I felt it was a little bit of a cop-out with how they end things. With, oh, it was all in her head at some point, which is a little bit hard to determine. You can kind of make the jump yourself, but that felt a little cheap. It cheapened the experience. Regardless, it was a very fun ride. I have since gone back and watched it again, and I dug it even more, I think, on the second viewing. Now, I have no doubt a lot of lists will feature films like Nosferatu on them, a movie that I found painfully boring. And yes, I do like The Witch and The Northman, so calm down. I don't just hate high art and slower moving films. But you know what? It's also okay to throw in a little schlock, to throw in some cheese and some good old-fashioned stupid action. And that's what we have with Deadpool and Wolverine, a love letter to the superhero movies Fox put out in the early 2000s. And of course, it's a buddy road trip film featuring the Merc with the Mouth and our lovable Logan, played by Hugh Jackman. This was a movie fans have been waiting for many, many years, including Ryan Reynolds himself. He and Jackman are of course best friends in real life, so them being able to do this picture together just makes it that much more fun for audiences to watch. There's of course tons of Easter eggs, there's a million cameos in this thing, it's funny as hell, and there's some great action scenes in this thing. The plot is ass. I don't care what anyone says, the plot is stupid. And that's okay, it's Deadpool, we're not looking for Shakespeare here. But I do think it could have been a little bit more competent. That said, everything I've loved about the previous Deadpool movies is once again here. We have hilarious musical choices, the standout being Bye Bye Bye, of course, with that phenomenal intro. There's not just humor in this, and self-referential humor, there's also meta humor. We have Gambit, played by Channing Tatum. We have Henry Cavill playing a version of Logan. Now that Deadpool is owned by Disney for better and worse, Wade has no strings on him, and he's even able to make fun of the Mouse King from time to time. Bottom line, the pros very much outweigh the cons. I was laughing my ass off watching this film in theaters, and you know what? It's okay to enjoy things once in a while. Can we enjoy things? I think so. Saturday Night is a movie that came out that only I saw, and I think 5 other people, total. This movie came out at such a bad time, with so little press and so little interest, that I didn't even bother putting out a full review. I did an out-of-theater reaction, and it did so poorly with the numbers that I said, all right, my audience doesn't give a crap about this, I'm moving on. However, it has stayed with me all year. I really enjoyed this film. The performances are freaking fantastic. What we have here is a fictitious version of the beginning of Saturday Night Live, as Lorne Michaels does everything he can to keep this shit show from falling to complete chaos. Just getting the show up and running and into a proper slot where it can be viewed by an actual audience was almost impossible. And this movie is going to take us through that one faithful night where everything finally came together. Now, as cool as it would be to say, wow, all this stuff happened and they still made it work out, that's not entirely true. In fact, a bunch of stuff that takes place did happen, but not the night of. They took kind of a greatest hits disaster of the early seasons and put it all into this one pot. So Chevy is already stealing the spotlight. John Belushi's already falling to pieces, wondering if he should even be part of this nonsense. Andy Kaufman's being Andy Kaufman. This was a movie that's very much targeting me and older folks. A 20-year-old who doesn't know anything about the early years might not even appreciate this movie for what it is, and that's perfectly fair. This film is very much specifically going after an audience that knows a little bit about the history and these actors. Just seeing a version of Dan Aykroyd is really fun for me. And the fact that the actors that play these characters do such a damn good job, it's almost an uncanny valley situation. This film is very frantic, it's always moving, there's always stuff happening, and I think it would be even better on multiple viewings. Director Jason Reitman did a damn fine job with this film. I do recommend you check it out if you slept on it. And again, I and 5 others saw this movie in total, so people definitely slept on Saturday night. Alien Romulus, I believe, is the only movie I saw in 2024 twice in theaters. The second time, I have to say, it was not near as good as the first, but I still dug the film. That first watch of the movie on the big screen really gave me a feel for Alien again. I felt at home. And I'm a person that unapologetically likes Prometheus. Warts and all, I think it's a beautiful, haunting film. Now, Alien Coven shit, no, don't get me started on that one. Romulus takes us back to basics. Somewhere in time near the end of the first film, Alien. But we're definitely pulling inspiration from a bunch of Alien movies in terms of the weaponry, the way the xenomorphs move, the final act. I guess it's a staple that our main protagonist be a female and have a bad haircut. They kept that very much intact here. And my kids really love this movie too. So much that we quote it constantly, pretty much on a daily basis. One of us will just go, "Run.
Run."
attempting to do that deep baritone of the android of the film. Lots of great action moments in this. Cinematography is matching up really well with the Ridley Scott original. Obviously more modernized with the visuals, but still, it looks fantastic. Sound design is on point. And while it might take a little bit of time to get going, once it fully gets into gear, it does not let up. Now, I can see why people don't like Alien Romulus. I totally get that it's once again a legacy sequel sort of situation. You take the greatest hits, you play them back again for a new audience or an older audience that still loves the glory days. You bring back a dead actor, you do a deep fake, you say lines from the old movies. Yeah, it's got all that cringy shit for sure. But I'm pretty lenient when it comes to these legacy sequels. I know exactly what I'm gonna get at this point, so it's my own fault if I go in expecting something much deeper and more profound. Alien Romulus, it gets the job done. We have ourselves a dynamic duo. Scott Beck and Brian Woods pull director and writing responsibilities on Heretic. And what they craft is a really, really strong 2/3 of a film, with the final act definitely being a bit of a disappointment in the overall scope of it, but I still very much enjoyed this movie. And that's almost entirely thanks to Mr. Reed, played by Hugh Grant. Grant is devilishly fun here. And these two actresses do a damn fine job holding their own against this antagonist. Chloe East and Sophie Thatcher, their characters are not in a good situation. They show up at this guy's house, he invites them in for a little bit of milk and cookies, maybe talk to the missus, and then oops, can't get back out. The place is locked because it's on some fucked up, bizarre triggering system, and they only have a small window of time when it's going to unlock. Of course, this is all complete BS, and he has the key the entire time to turn this whole factory off and on at his choosing. This is a very dialogue-heavy film for the first half, and that's the stuff I really enjoyed. How Mr. Reed is testing these two young ladies, trying to make them break, trying to make them see that they are being brainwashed, that they're in a cult, that there's a way to escape. And agree or disagree with this gentleman, he's clearly going about it the wrong way. I'm a sucker for a bottle episode. A movie that takes place primarily in one key location. Like, oh, I'm trapped 6 feet underground in a coffin and I have to find a way out. Or I'm in a phone booth for 2 hours. Or I'm on a bus for 2 hours. Or you get the idea. And here we are spending time inside Mr. Reed's sick, twisted maze he has concocted for these two innocent victims. And even though the cheese at the end of this maze might not have been the best tasting, I still really loved my time getting through it. Now we're getting somewhere. Dune Part 2. This is the fancy man nerds movie. This is sci-fi on a different level. Atreides is back, baby! And his mind is sharp as a tack. His abilities getting stronger. His mom in the wings building up his legacy. But on the other side, we have the Baron and a great new threat in the form of his son. The other son, not Dave Bautista. These Dune movies really need to be seen on the big screen. They are massive in scale with powerful sound design you're just not going to get from a home theater system. Dune is really begging to be experienced with a full theater so that you can get the ambiance of douchebags chewing popcorn loudly and getting that last bit of icy out of their large drink. I gotta go to the bathroom. Gotta love the movies. The Dune films are not fast-moving affairs. In fact, they go at about the pace you would need to avoid a sandworm, which means slowly and carefully. And these are carefully executed films. A lot of stuff happening behind the scenes, Game of Thrones-esque betrayals getting set up. And the final moments of this film, the biggest betrayal of them all takes place, where Atreides looks over at his beautiful Zendaya and says, "Yeah, bye, girl. I got Florence Pugh over here. I think I'll take my chances with her." The film has better action, bigger stakes, more sandworms, so I'm more involved. All right, I'm all in on Dune 2, and I'm excited that they got a third one in the works. Maybe Anya Taylor-Joy will have more than 2 seconds of screen time. Zendaya takes 2 spots on this list, and here we are at the number 3. These are the top tier movies now, folks. It's getting serious. Challengers. Not only one of my favorite movies of the year, but also the one that's way out of left field. And that being said, along with this video, I'm also going to be putting out a top 10 biggest disappointments, top 10 worst movies of 2024, and top 10 biggest surprises. This one should be number 1 on that list, but I'm going to keep these all separate movies so I have more to talk about and more to recommend or tell you to avoid. Holy shit, did I like Challengers though. What an experience. This was unlike anything else I saw this year and really in the last few. You could say style over substance, but you'd be a fool because there's substance coming out of this movie's ass. The trailer would have you believe we have a 2 boys 1 cup situation, but it's not that at all. These guys are not totally interested in Zendaya for the reasons they might think at first, convincing themselves. No. It's all about the challenge. This movie's focused on tennis and these tennis pros and how much they love the game. But there's a game being played both on the court and off. And the one off the court is a battle of the minds. It's a battle of the will. It's a battle of the human spirit. And how much pain they can inflict on each other before they come to grips with the harsh reality that these two are fucking in love with each other. Zendaya's the one in the middle, the puppet master controlling these 2 fools, popping that tennis ball off their heads and right back so she can volley again until she finally breaks them both and makes them see what was obviously clear to her this entire time. But she's also driven. She's also a woman that's gonna take what she wants and doesn't give a crap what anybody else thinks. It's a sport to these people. A sport I very much enjoyed watching. The visuals are popping in this thing. The music is intense as crap. It's bringing me into these action moments, almost to a point where it's overwhelming you. The dialogue is almost unrecognizable at times because that music is pumping so hard. But this was an absolute rush to watch. Really a big fan of Challengers. Highly recommend checking it out if you maybe skipped it at first because you thought, Zendaya, the love interest, these guys are after. Hard pass. Think again. I think you might find something to love here. I've said it many times over the course of this year and pretty much every year. I love me a good 90-minute film. An hour and a half, chef's kiss, get in and get to the point, then get out before anyone can say, wow, this is still going? We probably could have cut some time off. Strange Darling is one such film. A roller coaster ride told in different chapters out of order. And the reason it does so is not for some artsy-fartsy bullshit. No. It very much adds to the story. Chapters was a big, dumb, popular thing that happened the last couple years. The Quentin Tarantino thing, Act 1. Chapter 1, Part 1. It never really does anything other than make me go, okay, Napoleon, why are you telling this in parts? Why does this matter? Most of the time I get annoyed and think, all right, so we're on part 2, so there's going to be 3 parts. And that's in the back of my mind. But in Strange Darling, the reason these exist is to keep you guessing, keep you on your toes, and putting this puzzle together is half of the fun. Oh, I like this person. Wait, actually, maybe I don't like this person. Who's the protagonist and the antagonist here? Why is everything so confusing? It's a fucking ride, folks. It looks amazing. It has this old school retro look, that gorgeous 35mm camera, really bringing you into the fold. I gave props earlier to Naomi Scott for her performance in Smile 2. Willa Fitzgerald, holy crap, she is killing it in this movie. Crushing every scene she's in. This was a good year for the ladies. I'm gonna say that right now. They kind of acted circles around most of the guys. Hopefully in 2025, gentlemen, we can bring our A games again because this was embarrassing. This was very one-sided. Although Aaron Taylor Johnson was Kraven in Kraven the Hunter, let's not forget that. Honestly, Strange Darling is so good. The less I say, the more volumes I'm speaking about it because when I really enjoy a film, I don't want to praise it up and down and ruin it for you. I want you to just go give it a chance. It's not going to be for everyone, and you might find yourself experiencing a lot of highs and lows during this film. Do I like it? Do I hate it? What am I supposed to feel? You're supposed to feel everything. That's the point. You're supposed to feel it all. And I did. And I gotta tell you, Strange Darling, the biggest roller coaster ride I took this year. I'm ready to get on it again. Wait, I did. I saw it twice already. It's a good film. Director and writer Coralie, French name that I can't pronounce, kills it with my favorite movie of the year, The Substance. This woman just gets me, I suppose. We have hot women. We have an R rating. We have an insane plot revolving around a woman trying to be young again, so she takes a magical substance that splits her into two people, and she has to Freaky Friday it as one at a time. Switching back and forth bodies every 7 days, and there are dire consequences if she doesn't abide by the rules. This is a body horror film featuring Demi Moore in one of her greatest performances to date. A reflexive role, I would imagine, about an actress who is starting to phase out because Hollywood's all about those tight young bodies, which is where Margaret Qualley's gonna come in. The relationship between these two different parts of this woman are fantastic to watch unfold, and things, of course, go off the rails very quickly. And you better believe there are layers to the storyline. There is commentary at play here about body image, about Hollywood in general and how they portray women, about the out-of-touch high-up execs pulling the strings behind the scenes, the not-so-subtly naming of Dennis Quaid's character as Harvey, the boss of Demi Moore. And it's not just shock factor moments for shock factor's sake. Granted, the final act is going to definitely turn some people off, even the ones that are really on board for the first two parts. I still thought it was awesome, and I was ready to go wherever this movie wanted to take me. It's shot beautifully. The cameraman knew the assignment, framing up some really nice ass shots throughout the film, a kick-ass original score, and just a whole bunch of edge-of-your-seat moments where at any time things can go really bad really fast. It's a very unconventional horror film because it's not relying on jump scares. It's relying entirely on psychological warfare and what this woman's gonna go through as she gets older. And the absolutely heartbreaking devastation of watching her choose that fame, that spotlight once again over her current state. And when she finally starts to regret those decisions, it's far too late to go back. What a movie, what an experience. Whenever I put out top 10 films, I always leave my top 3 for movies that are just one of a kind. Films that you'll look back on in 10 years and fondly remember and think, man, that was an experience. It's one of those movies that when I watch it, I know instantly this is the one for me. This gets me. The same happened a year or so back with Everything Everywhere All at Once, a movie that many people don't like, but it doesn't matter. Okay, I don't pretend this is the list of all lists. This is my top 10 movies of 2024, and I saw a stupid amount of them. So many so that it was really challenging for me to come up with the top 10 worst movies because there were so many bad ones. And I'm going to be going over that in the next video. So please subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave a comment, and let me know if you agree with any or pretty much all of the movies I have on this list. I would appreciate it. And hopefully, I see you next time. Take care. Hey, thanks again for watching the video. Since you made it this far, maybe think about joining me on patreon.com/AdamDoesMovies, because not only are you helping to support this one-man band like these fine folks next to me have, you are also getting exclusive videos monthly. Even if you don't have the funds right now, you can still become a member there for free and at least see what's going on in case in the future you want to make that jump. All right, take care.